Hey Gab, Facebook, YouTube, it's Kevin Newsom coming to you from Houston, Texas. Hope you're doing well whenever and wherever you're at. So today I'm going to talk about a solution to one of the more controversial aspects of American life in the last 2 to 3 years, and that is Confederate monuments and memorials. Now, in a nutshell, for the past 5 to 6 years, there's been a raging controversy primarily in the mass urban areas, the big cities of America, concerning Confederate statues and monuments. Now, for those of us who enjoy history, for those who are Southern by grace of God or who got to the South as quickly as possible, Confederate monuments aren't a problem at all. But there's a flip side to that equation. Many people who live in urban areas don't appreciate the Confederate monuments. They don't identify with the South, even if they live in the South. Or they see the South in general and Confederate history specifically to be a source of shame. So we have two conflicting ideologies butting heads in our mass urban centers throughout the South. Many urban voters don't want Confederate statues around. Many of those who are born in the South or who appreciate history want to keep them around. And after countless court cases and hundreds of thousands of dollars of taxpayer money spent, we are no closer to a solution to this problem than we were 5 or 6 years ago. So what is the solution to this problem? My solution is this: any urban jurisdiction that votes to have Confederate statues or monuments removed should hand those statues and monuments over to the nearest Southern Heritage organization. And at that point, said Southern Heritage organization pays for the transport of the monument or memorial to a more suitable location. And in this way, both sides get what they want. The urban progressives don't have to have Confederate statues in their downtown areas, and Southern Heritage supporters can find a place where the Confederate statues and memorials can be treated with respect. Now, the folks who say that these statues need to be put in a museum, that they need to have their proper historical context, should be just fine with this proposal. Because I can't think of anyone else who is more qualified to put Southern and Confederate statues and monuments in a proper historical context than the descendants of those very Confederates themselves. And on the flip side, the folks who are pro-Southern heritage should be behind such a proposal, because finally it gets these statues and memorials out of the progressive urban centers and into territory that is more friendly for Southern heritage. Caveats. With any rule, there's an exception. With any proposal, there's always a caveat. And for this proposal, the caveat will be state laws concerning removal or moving of statues. Certain states have laws that do not permit statues or monuments to be moved or torn down. So in such cases, this proposal does not apply. In such cases, if a jurisdiction attempts to move or tear down a statue, they are violating the law and they do need to be taken to court. Objections. With any proposal, there's always a knee-jerk reaction to reject said proposal. And you will always hear the same excuses. It'll never happen. Not happening. Impossible. It can't happen here. Now, to the progressives who live in the urban centers, why would you reject this proposal? Would it be because instead of actually providing historical context, you want to instead vilify and denigrate the Confederate statues and the men and women of the Confederacy? Are we really trying to provide a better context and explain these statues and explain history a little bit better? Or are we really trying to just vilify and denigrate and destroy something we don't personally agree with. Now, for the Southern Heritage organizations, if there's no state law barring the removal of these statues, what is the difference between venerating a statue in an urban center and venerating it 20 miles away? What have you lost in that process? What have you truly lost? Is it a change in the history of the statue? Is it a change for what that statue stands for, if it's moved 20 miles in one direction or the other? Or does it have more to do with stubbornness and ego? Wouldn't this proposal allow you, the Southern Heritage supporter, to provide the full context of all the events of that war, and not only have a statue standing by itself, but also perhaps a living history, a reenactment battlefield, a historical collection? Couldn't you do so much more with these statues once you get them into your possession and away from the urban centers that really don't want them? This proposal, in my estimation, provides a solution to a rather large problem we're having in our urban centers throughout the South. It gives both sides exactly what they want. It allows Southern Heritage organizations to finally take control of what belongs to them. And for the progressive urban voter, it gets Confederate statues out of their downtown areas. Feel free to leave your comments below. In my estimation, though, we need to find a solution to this problem that is not going to continue to drain taxpayer money. It's not going to continue to see these beautiful works of art desecrated, torn down, spray painted, etc., etc. We need to find the right solution to this problem, and I think my proposal goes a very long way towards such a solution. Once again, this is Kevin Newsom coming to you from Houston, Texas, saying God bless you whenever and wherever you're at.